And now we put a lens on the story behind the photographs in a major museum. Jeffrey Brown looks at the artistry that goes into preserving images for years to come. It's part of Canvas, a regular series on arts and culture.
Within the walls of the Art Institute of Chicago resides one of the nation's foremost collections of photography. Here, works by 20th century masters such as Alfred Stieglitz and Walker Evans share space with daguerreotypes from the earliest days of the medium. For a collection this size and quality to be fit for the viewing public, hours of painstaking work is required behind the scenes.
All right, so this is the storage.
Enter Sylvie Pénichon, head of the Art Institute's Photo Conservation Department.
You could say I am maybe the primary care physician of the photograph collection.
Primary care physician?
Yes.
When there's trouble or something's wrong, they call you?
Or maybe not. Just for the annual checkup, you do regular checkup to make sure that everything is okay, and that's what we do too.
Pénichon and her team are responsible for maintaining, preserving, and repairing the more than 24,000 pieces in the museum's collection. It's delicate and time-consuming work, often overlooked and not fully understood. We may think of photographs as images, but for conservators, they're first and foremost individual objects.
Yes. The misconception, especially for photograph, you can just make another one. You know, we can easily print, two prints are the same, and they're actually not. There are slight differences that make every single print unique.
This work is now getting its own exhibition treatment at the Art Institute. On display, a history of photographic methods and materials, tools used by conservators, and before and after shots that demonstrate the painstaking lengths taken to repair and restore photographs. One example, a photograph by André Kertész, which suffered damage to its corner that required weeks to analyze and repair.
For doing this, we had to pick a paper that had the same thickness of this photograph and then build layers so that the sheen, the surface texture of the photograph would be mimicked. So right here we made a new corner, basically, and then painted the area where the image was missing.
But the conservator's role is as much preserving photographs as repairing them. To that end, the Art Institute employs a massive cold storage facility where it holds its entire collection. 60 degrees for black and white photographs.
It is freezing in here.
No warmer than 40 degrees for color.
The dyes naturally will fade at room temperature, even in the dark, even if we never show them.
Really?
They will fade.
Huh.
By being in the cold, the dyes don't fade as fast. The colder the temperature, the slower the reaction.
Back in the exhibit, the effects are plain to see. Two prints by Joel Meyerowitz of the Gateway Arch in St. Louis. One kept in cold storage for 22 years, the other just 8.
The more we study, the more we understand the effect of time and of certain things like, pollution in the air, ozone from the photocopy machine or things like this. And we understand better how certain things have an aging effect more than others. And we try to mitigate those.
To Pénichon, all this is needed to preserve what she describes as the materiality of a photograph.
A photograph is in itself, as an object, encapsulate a moment. It is the reflection of a certain moment. The way we decide to do things is a choice. And this choice is encapsulated in the result.
Yeah.
So that photograph, not only the image is a moment in time, the object itself represents that moment as well.
Of course, in the age of smartphones and digital cameras, materiality has changed. The Art Institute has stepped up its collection of digital media, but Pénichon fears something may be lost.
You need a machine to look at them. You cannot stumble on, your photograph like you would your grandparents, a shoebox with prints. our grandkids or great-grandkids, they're not going to stumble on a shoebox.
So there's something to be said for the old shoebox full of old
Yes, even though it's
photos.
not, we tell people don't put your photos in shoeboxes.
You do?
Yes, because it's not ideal. But there is something to be said about the shoebox.
The exhibition Conserving Photographs runs through April. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Jeffrey Brown at the Art Institute of Chicago.